Hello, everybody. Back again with another educational episode of, well, let's just do this. I'm the Lake Station community advocate and educator, and if you don't know, go check out some of my other videos. I suggest starting from Volume 1 all the way through to current. Check out Lake Station Strong Towns Collective on Facebook, Lake Station Strong Local Conversation, and also on X as well. And yeah, website coming soon, and on YouTube. But right now I want to address a little something. Now this is a concern over this. This is a new gas station there was an old building. It wasn't being utilized there, which I could have thought of a million things to stick there for the community instead of another liquor store and gas station. Now, by the way, I'm not against growth, good growth actually, and community advocacy and getting community involved in decision making, because we'll get to that in a moment. But I want to more touch on this response from a community member who believed they would challenge me on this. So as we see here, many districts, they were talking about school districts and things like that, okay? Because our school districts, because of the referendum not being passed, and it should not be passed, mismanagement of funds and mismanagement of assets and resources for the schools being really skewed in, and the state denied their paperwork because they had it worded wrong. They were trying to slide one past the state and all the other stuff. But we're going to 3 to 4 day weeks, and other school districts are doing this, and they're actually happier, and there's other countries in the world doing it, and the students are getting better grades or better concentrating. However, this has to do also with the fact of that the community should be involved in planning and design and things like that within the community of businesses, playgrounds, streets, and what have you, and we should be. But this person don't believe that. At least this is just their opinion. Let's give this a read. Talking to me, that opened a big can of worms to allow public comment on what someone can do with their own property. Now I want to address something. The property wasn't theirs. They bought the property. They knocked it down, an old building. They knocked down the old building that was there. They put up a new liquor store / gas station. And if you don't know what liquor lining is, go watch my YouTube or my TikTok on liquor lining. But the person who put this gas station / liquor store up is literally across the street from the other liquor store he owns. So tell me how we're not liquor lining our town and the premise of real growth and prosperity and commerce. But back to this. So no, we're not telling you what you can do with a private property. When it concerns the community and a commercial business, we should be involved. Even if that personal owner is private and they try to privatize things, we should be involved. And we'll get to that in a moment as to why. However, would you want to allow the public's comment on anything you do on your property, your yard, your house, your garbage, paint, flowers, plants, and trees? Well, now we're comparing apples and bowling balls, because on one spectrum, it's not commercial or industrial. My home is very private. It's residential. I'm not putting up a liquor store / gas station in my yard. I'm putting a flower box in or something small, right? And to an extent, you kind of do have a little say-so over your neighbor. However, because when it comes to resale values and properties, it gets kind of skewy. However, to say that putting a plant in my front yard is the same thing as putting in a liquor store / gas station, when there's the same person owns the liquor store across the street, and liquor lining is the same thing as putting a plant in someone's front yard. While this seems extreme, I'm not the one who made the comparison. They are. Now, let's finish this up. HOA without extra benefits. That's what it sounds like. Well, first off, HOA has decrees and things like that are basically like law. No one does anything unless it goes and gets approved. This specifically is the community. This affects the whole community, the income, the taxes, not to mention it. There's a liquor store literally across the street, so tell me how we are not liquor lining our community. But if you don't know what liquor lining is, like I said, don't mention. Go research it. Go do the research for yourself. It's on poor communities. We're a poor community. They have liquor lined our streets with liquor stores and bars and lounges and liquor stores and bars and lounges and more liquor bars and stores and lounges. And even the taco joints are getting liquor licenses. I don't know how many liquor licenses a town can have, but this is getting a little absurd. So no, it's actually not like letting your neighbor have a say so what goes on in your yard. It's not like that. And let me get to why it's important and why the reasons are very important for community members to have a little bit of a say-so within their community of the businesses and the things that go on commercially for taxes and other reasons. And the reason that they should be involved within the growth and development within a community is, first off, community members get a better understanding of a community needs and the aspirations and what some top priorities are. I surely don't think a liquor store is a top priority, but hidden under the premise of a gas station, I guess it's okay, right? Community engagement isn't like a one-way street. It's not like the council members and the board commission telling us what goes. It's a continual dialogue of residents and the council and the board commission and things like that. They're upon an agreement for the better prosperity of a community. Council learns what the community needs are and are not, and it helps in the community in the design, the function, the ideas, and the perspectives of those community members. The second thing is it gives diverse and new creativities and perspectives and strengthens city decision making for all sides. Because when decisions are made by the most popular and strongest of opinions and influencers, and influences, by the way, of the loudest voices, the outcomes are only beneficial to one outcome. To the group that determines what is acceptable in the community and what is not, and not the community as a whole. So no wonder why Lake Station's kind of in a complete and utter burning down of the city when everybody's sitting going, it's okay. And by the way, the marginalized voices aren't actually heard. They are quieted by the loudest, most influential people of powers of positions here, which isn't fair. Third thing is engagement heightens and increases administrational transparency. Oh, they hate that. Oh, they hate transparency and accountability here. But simply it holds the decision makers accountable. And community deserves to have some transparency over decision making in the decision making process here. It creates a fairness for everybody, not just on one side. The fourth thing is the engagement helps initiatives to run a little smoother. It kind of helps the community identify some roadblocks, the time frames, the costs, the same thing with the council members and the administration and the building commission. It helps everybody administrationally, developers, community members, and everything is being well managed. It's not being slid through under the table behind someone's back. And you're able to identify issues before they're left and really bad outcomes are left for years to come. Fifth thing is it creates community a feeling of ownership. And who doesn't like that? Because community members become better informed, educated in the processes of how things are done, better decision making, and increased trust of parties involved, of everybody. But that's just too much to ask for some transparency and accountability and involvement, right? And one of the most important things is it allows for diversity of all the voices and the views, including everyone, even if you don't like them, because that's how community goes. And they kind of get to say so into the design and, the finances for the future for a very sustainable community for the long haul. When you just shove things and slide things under the table, first off, it's bad decision making. Anybody knows that. And it's not good for the long haul. While it may look good and up front it looks okay for the short term, the long term, there's probably some really bad anchors tied to it. But again, I'm the Lake Station Community Advocate. Go check out Lake Station Strong Towns Collective on Facebook, Lake Station Strong Local Conversations. Same thing with Lake Station Strong Towns on X, YouTube, and soon a beautiful website. So until next time, folks.